All right, folks, let's talk about Canada's most enduring tradition, political scandals. But don't worry, this isn't about one single scandal. Oh no, we're talking about the buffet of corruption, incompetence, and mismanagement served up by the Trudeau government over the years. It's not just that scandals keep happening, it's that Canadians have become so numb to them, we don't even flinch anymore. We used to demand accountability, transparency, and consequences. Now we shrug, check the headlines, and say, oh, it's just Tuesday in Ottawa. Let's unpack how we got here, why it's a problem, and how it all went so wrong with facts, sarcasm, and the kind of energy that'll make you want to shout at your screen. Let's run through the highlight reel of Liberal government scandals, shall we? SNC-Lavalin, pressuring the Attorney General to drop charges for a Quebec company with deep political ties. We Charity, millions handed to an organization with connections to Trudeau's family. Aga Khan Vacation, a free luxury trip that broke federal ethics rules. Arrive Can, let's not even rehash that boondoggle. Chinese election interference, allegations the government ignored warnings about meddling in our democracy. And that's just the big ones. At this point, if a month goes by without a scandal, we assume everyone in Ottawa is on vacation. The current government handles scandals like Tim Hortons handles coffee. There's always a fresh one brewing, and you're never surprised by what's in the cup. Here's the kicker: no one is held accountable. Back in the day of Chrétien and the Mulroney years, scandals meant resignations, inquiries, consequences. When the sponsorship scandal broke in the early 2000s, it rocked the Liberal Party to its core. Ministers resigned, heads rolled, and it paved the way for a change in power and government. Now, scandals happen and everyone just moves on. Ministers dodge questions, Trudeau issues a half apology, and the media gives it 2 weeks before we're distracted by the next controversy. It's like living in a reality show where no one ever gets voted off the island. Accountability in modern Canadian politics is like Bigfoot. People say it exists, but no one actually seen it. And the saddest part to all this, we're complicit. Canadians have become so used to these scandals, we don't even care anymore. We're overwhelmed by the sheer volume of corruption, mismanagement, and ethical breaches. It's called scandal fatigue, and it's real. Remember the We Charity scandal? People were outraged for about 2 weeks. Then we moved on to debating vaccine mandates, housing prices, or whether ketchup chips are overrated. The government knows this, and they exploit it. They don't have to fix anything because they know we won't stay mad long enough to demand change. Back in the day, politics wasn't perfect, but there was a sense of transparency and public accountability. Mulroney held press conferences where journalists asked tough questions. Chrétien wasn't afraid to explain himself, even if his answers were sometimes sounded like a stand-up routine. Now, Trudeau's government avoids tough questions like it's an Olympic sport. Parliamentary committees get stonewalled. Media access is restricted, and the government hides behind vague statements like, we're working on it, or we're focused on Canadians' priorities. Translation? We're not telling you a damn thing. Stop asking, and we don't care that we work for you. This government's communication strategy is like a bad relationship. I don't owe you an explanation, but trust me, everything's just fine. Spoiler alert, it's not. And let's not forget the actual cost of all this mismanagement. These scandals aren't just a blow to democracy. They're a blow to your wallet. The We Charity scandal, that's millions of taxpayer dollars. SNC-Lavalin, billions tied up in questionable contracts. Chinese election interference, you can't even put a price tag on the erosion of trust and democracy. The Trudeau government loves to talk about helping the middle class, but between the scandals and skyrocketing debt, they're doing the exact opposite. Scandals aren't just political, they're economic, and young Canadians are the ones paying the price. Trudeau scandals are like hidden fees on your cell phone. You don't notice them at first, but they're costing you a fortune every month. So why does this matter? Because when scandals become normal, democracy erodes. When no one demands accountability, politicians stop caring about transparency. And when governments act without any consequence, the people suffer. Canada deserves better. We deserve leaders who actually respect the institutions they represent. We deserve a government that doesn't treat ethics rules like suggestions. We deserve a political culture where the transparency and accountability aren't punchlines, they're expectations. These politicians think it's a joke, but Canadians are not laughing. Here's the takeaway, folks. Canada's political landscape has gone from scandal averse to scandal immune. Under the Trudeau government, ethics rules are optional, accountability is non existent, and Canadians are too overwhelmed to care. And here's the thing, we can change this. We need to stop accepting mediocrity as the norm. We need to demand better transparency, better accountability, and better leadership. Because if we don't, the scandals will keep piling up and the Canada we know and love will be lost in the noise. Thanks for tuning in. Don't let bad governance mess with your future or your trust in democracy. Subscribe to Owl Mortgage for real talk, smart strategies, and maybe, just maybe, a little hope for change. Because Canada deserves better, and so do you. Because accountability shouldn't be a relic of the past.